Hello, everybody. Welcome back to BBB Sharing. This is Joshua, and we have another very special guest today. I wanted you to introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Brian Taylor, tech creative by day, content creator, or web graphic designer by night.
So tell me what it is that you do.
So my day job is I work as an engineer for a Fortune 500 company. I've been writing code for them, working with them for close to 3 years. And my entrepreneurship or business role that I'm doing outside of work is a graphic and web designer. So I have a business called Rely on Bot. Ironically, it is Rely on, and it's my initials, BOT. And a friend of mine, we kind of came up with the concept of it being robot and make it kind of your one-stop shop for any social media, web design, graphic design, tech needs, and that sort.
Okay. So when it comes to the graphic designs, people come to you, they ask for something specific. What is entailed? Like, what is kind of going on in your head when you're asking them questions of what they're looking for?
So a lot of it is an in-depth breakdown of almost having it's literally a forceful definition of know your customer. So, for instance, one of the things is trying to get people to understand colors, color schemes, color swatches, stuff like that. And we're usually kind of having like a discussion of, all right, what colors do you want to use? What style do you want? Do you want a minimalist design? Do you want something very in-depth? And then from there, we usually will kind of bounce some ideas and say, okay, what are your competitors? Like, what designs are they using, or what's kind of your target audience? Because you have to factor all of that in when you're doing any design work. So I usually try to be very open and honest with people, but I also give them that room of like, all right, if this is what you want, I can give you this design, but we just have to be sure like it doesn't look like every other design that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think some of the when it comes to colors, I don't know. Coming from someone who's colorblind, I don't really pay attention to a lot of colors.
Okay.
But it is true when you walk into a room, the mood sets depending on where you are.
Absolutely.
And of course, if you're trying to convey one thing, colors can actually tell you what you're trying to convey, which is very interesting.
Yep. Yeah, and to that point, like I usually always call it, I call it the big four, blue, green, yellow, red. Mm-hmm. Most businesses in some facet or form use one of those colors.
Okay.
A lot of your major businesses. Amazon might be an exception, but most companies kind of stick to that model, or everybody's going minimalist now with their design work.
Interesting. Is it just more appealing to the eyes, or are those just the primary colors?
They're just primary colors that most people, well, like if you think about on a printing level or just printers in general, when you're buying like, you'll buy your black cartridge, and then there's usually a color cartridge, but it'll be RGB.
Yeah.
Or RGB magenta or something like that. But they'll have those three colors. And the other part of why I say those four colors, at one point, Google, that was if you look at their older logos, that was their design form. Yahoo had yellow in their design. Target, red is in their design. A lot of companies try to, in some fashion, keep one of those colors in the mix. So, like, I know YouTube, if you ask somebody what the YouTube logo is, they're going to tell you the play button, and they know it's the red play button. Mm-hmm. So it's things that stand out and are distinctive in those facets. So
awesome.
Yeah.
What made you want to kind of start something like this?
Good question. So, believe it or not, as someone who is very passionate and very connected to IT, it just worked. And I had been talking about it for a while, like, all right, I need to start a business. I'm appreciative of what I'm getting as income from where I work and where I have worked, but I think this can be a more lucrative and more beneficial option. So over time, I kind of walked through the process and came to folks and said, hey, you want me to do a logo for you? And they're like, all right, sure, and we'll kind of work something up. And I was able to kind of get some ideas going that way, and that was kind of like, as age-old saying, the rest is history. I put more effort towards graphic currently. Web is a little bit more. Web design can be a little tricky, but it's also a harder sell, only because, and I'm saying this especially being on the show to talk about it, when you're telling people the starting prices, everybody doesn't budge because they want a deal. And I'm like, I mean, the alternative is you do it yourself, but not everybody has that kind of time. So But from the graphic aspect, I've always been I've been working around computers since I was 6, and kind of going old school. Like, I'm from the MySpace days and getting on the internet and, kind of working. Like, I learned HTML on a basic level, but now obviously everybody's team no code. So if you can at least get the application of your main design from the web design side, and then from the graphic aspect, it's just listening to the customer and kind of matching the pieces together.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't even touch MySpace.
Oh, you were lucky.
That was not a thing. But what is the difference between graphic and web?
Simple answer. Graphic is more physical as far as if you're doing your design work. Let's say a person says, all right, I need a graphic. More ties into the logo aspect. So if I name site companies like, we're near a few now. So Panera, Starbucks, McDonald's, CVS, Walgreens. If I name those companies to you, you have a physical visual of what their logo or their design could possibly look like. Panera, you're going to think of bread. If you think of Starbucks, you're thinking of coffee, or you think of the lady in the green and white logo. Jersey Mike's, same thing. It's like those designs are like distinctive designs. From the web side of it, however, it's then having that option to be able to access those companies in a website form. So most times the logo is going to be beneficial for the look. The website is going to be more beneficial for the feel. And sometimes the feel can be more in depth of some people may want to do application development, or it just comes down to, if I go to McDonald's.com, you can order, like I could literally, if I didn't have an app, if I'm on a computer, being able to go to McDonald's.com and then just accessing what I need to do and order something online. So it's the same way with any business. Like if a business wants to have that online presence, the physical, like I have someone I know now who sells custom, they're like upholstered items, but they basically have like their logo, which is, this is what my logo looks like of my business. But then they need a website. So their website has, these are the services I offer. You can go online and price a quote, contact, stuff like that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
What do you see a kind of overall appeal to a logo that people look at first? I know we established colors, but I'm just curious in terms of the kind of designs that you look at and say, this is what grabs people's attention.
What usually grabs most people's attention are things that are very extravagant. And when I say extravagant, I'm very loose with that term, because a lot of times people want this very overly detailed design, which is there's nothing wrong with that, but you want to be sure also that it doesn't. So there are things that, and this is not even on, and I'm like you mentioned it earlier, it's not even a factor of colorblind or not. It's just logical understanding. Certain images or certain designs have to work against certain images or backgrounds. So for instance, where we are in our podcast area, you have the sparked by Better Business Bureau's design. On here, it's showing in white, but they would have to have a different color scheme, because when you first come into this room, which none of you all here seeing it, but on the wall, if it's like a off-white, you have to put a different color.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure designs can match and doesn't contrast or conflict with certain colors or certain walls or certain things. So to your main question, it's just more so making sure that it's almost like you're doing the designing, but then it's also like, and someone broke this down to me this weekend, you're also consulting, because you have to give them some type of guidance, because most people look at it as, I know what I want as my design, and I'm like, I can give you that design, but I can also tell you there's going to be things that you may run into as a conflict with utilizing that design. And then there's the other factor of if you have to do any copywriting, trademarking, stuff like that, because then that's where you really got to make sure you're not using something that's already out there, or a company already has access to that brand or style or look or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's just very interesting how much stuff just goes into something like that. Because I know the logos nowadays, they're starting to get like a lot more simpler.
Yes.
I know that was like a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people started getting mad because they were like, oh, we didn't, we like the way it was. I don't know if it was just for nostalgic purposes. I know certain fast foods started bringing back old ones, trying to bring people back. I wonder if that changed anything.
It did. It was, so it was and you're 100% right. A lot of companies started to do what was called like a design. It was like a huge uphaul of it was almost like all the companies came together and said, hey, how simple can we make our design? So like, Walmart, for instance, if you drive up to a Walmart, they don't put the word Walmart on the sign anymore. Mm-hmm. It's just you see those little lines.
Star.
Yeah, you see that little star and you know it's Walmart.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, and I always love sharing this one. So most people, whenever you hear or talk about the term Amazon known as we sell everything from A to Z with that arrow symbol. Mm-hmm. However, over time, they've kind of taken out that full look because now they're just like, okay, we're just going to give you that emblem and you know that's the Amazon logo without even having the wording. So companies are definitely being more aware and more conscious of what's working and what's trending in getting people's attention because now you're in a space where you just need to, if I tell a person now in a more direct sense, if I tell someone younger to explain the TikTok logo to me, they can explain it to a T because of the simple design that they know it as being. Same with Threads or whatever. Like when not Threads, I'm sorry. Before it was X, when it was Twitter, people knew the Bluebird. The Bluebird was a noticeable design. It's not to say that the X isn't now, but certain designs are just don't change. Like Instagram. Within reason, Instagram has kept the same look and feel of their brand. They've just changed it now where it's like, okay, we just need to put this pink and orange logo, put this box, put a little dot, and that's where you go to do photos and posts. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, and something that can't change.
Right.
Your logo can change a little, but it's like if you start changing too much, you're going to lose people.
Right.
You're going to lose a lot of people, but... Thank you for coming in. Did you have any, last words that you wanted to say to anybody?
Support my business. If you want to get any of your logos or website work done, you can find me on all platforms at Rely on Bot LLC, RelyonBot LLC. Also, if you want to contact me with any general questions that may not even be related to that level, but wanting to get help with starting a graphical web design business, rely on Bot LLC at gmail.com.
Awesome. You guys who are listening, just enjoy yourselves, enjoy the day. Make sure to follow us on all social media, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Bye, guys.